How are we doing, fellas?
Good.
It's quite hard to believe that it's been 3 weeks since we did that last one, where everything just got ripped to shreds in the end, right? Because it was meant to be in here. Paul was meant to be here. He got the booster, and
fell flat.
Yeah.
Like most people.
I was isolating because I thought my mum had COVID, which turned out she did have COVID, and then I got COVID, and blah 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 blah. We'll go into that as we go along. And then obviously my camera cut out for some reason, which I couldn't rectify. So it was just like
me and Jamie had a good giggle about that, didn't we? We just
That's
sat there. I think Jamie's when he said, he goes, I can't deal with this. It's just a black
It
screen.
just says his name.
just kind of looked like I was an informant or something. I couldn't show my face, I was like, even though my full name was on the screen.
I rewatched a little bit last night because my brother hadn't seen it, but just rewatched just a little bit of it, and he was like, "Where's Ryan's face?" I was like, "Get cut out halfway through." You're never gonna believe it. It's funny.
Oh man, things just don't go to plan sometimes, and they
really don't.
That was the least of my plans that got ruined over Christmas and New Year.
The biggest boo-boo I made was actually Monday. I forgot that my work had rearranged Monday to be inset. So my shift normally is 12 till 8, and inset you go in and you do inset training. It's basically just a whole day of crap. And you work from 7 till 3, and I totally forgot about that. So I went and waited for my bus from like 11:30 till 12.
Oh dear.
Seeing my own mother coming back from her work, and I was like, "You can give us a lift in the road."
Yeah.
Phoned them, and they're like, you're supposed to be in for 7. I was like, because I phoned them, like, where's this bus? This bus has forgotten me, Jamie. Like getting kind of raised, and he's like, John, you're supposed to be in at 7. It's inset. Oh, poop. I was like, Jamie, I'm sorry. I was like, I didn't mean it. I was like, do you want me to come in now? He's like,
You
no,
180'd real quick. You went, why are you fucking me over here? Just please don't sack me. Please don't do that.
I was full on like, it was that moment where if we were FaceTiming, I think he would have wet himself. Cause jaw would have dropped, eyes would have went wide open, like, oh no.
You know when like you take someone by surprise or something, and they don't really have like a reaction. It's more like they just kind of sit back a little bit.
You kind of went from Shrek to Puss in Boots.
Yeah. Yeah. This is my swamp.
You're pulling those Puss in Boots eyes. Oh dear. So
I hope you feel these eyes, Jamie.
How was Christmas and New Year for you, but I assume it was a damn sight better than mine, but
I'll let you go first.
I just chilled out. It was just quiet, really, to be honest. I mean, I had some like family over, and that was about it. I didn't drink or anything, so I just chilled.
It sounds nice, chilled on with the family though. Plenty of conversation.
Exactly.
I mean that's something we didn't get to do last year, right? Because it was whole tier 4.
I remember. I think I spoke about this on a much previous episode. There was a post on Facebook, and it was definitely last year of people. No, the year before, because it was the Christmas before. A granny or a nana or whatever went round to her family's house for a Christmas dinner, and they sat her outside on their like patio bit with French doors closed. And in my head, I'm like, you've just sat, without being rude, an OAP outside in the freaking cold in December. So she can have her Christmas dinner with you, feeling like she's subjugated. Are you joking?
Yeah, or just doing it over Zoom or FaceTime.
Yeah.
Or
I would have much rather just went round with a plate of food, knocked on the door, left it on the step, and went home. At least she'd be inside, warm with a plate of food, and they sat outside, working with pigeons and everything, trying to get at it.
Like just because COVID's on the go doesn't mean that hypothermia doesn't exist anymore.
Exactly.
You know? Like,
Honestly, it was that moment where I thought, how cruel can we be?
Yeah.
Like, I know they probably
stupid
think
are we?
we're doing this for the children. They want to see their nana. Yeah, they want to see their nana in good health. And they're freezing her boobs off.
I think if crisis has taught us anything from the human population is that we don't react smart. Like we just lose our fucking minds, don't we?
Panic.
It's just like buy all the toilet roll, have people sitting outside so we can see them. It doesn't matter the weather. That's what waterproof jackets were invented for. Like,
imagine your granny sitting at the Christmas table, either outside in a high vis.
yeah.
It's not. No.
Oh, but I'm not being funny. I think my nana would actually kill me if I ever tried to do that to her when she was here. Like,
is that the bailiffs outside? No, it's just right for Christmas.
My granny would take my jaw if I did that to her. 100%.
I used to tell everyone my nana was like, what's her name? That fucking Teresa wifey. What was her name? Mother Teresa.
No, Mother
Teresa. Teresa May. No, my nana is not one of those
blunders.
No, John's granny can actually dance. Unlike Theresa May.
Do you want to know what? She actually went to college for dance. She's got medals, dance medals from way back in the day.
So she went to college with Theresa May.
I'm starting to think we're
madness.
in the same family.
I know, this is strange. You got any relatives in Newcastle?
No.
Well, I was safe then.
My uncle is from
Oh,
Newcastle.
the poor thing.
The only reason I said no is he doesn't live there now. He lives in Elgin, but he is from Newcastle.
My family from there is the Joneses. Typical name from my area. The Joneses.
The Joneses.
Dax Jones, Nancy Jones, all that lot. That's all my fam.
It's like that. Have you ever seen that Burnison sketch? Where it's like, do you know Robbie Stokes? No. Do you know Darren Stokes? And then we keep going back and forth, and it's like, I know that's.
Sorry, there's only two best parts to be that. I threw my bottle of gin and I hit the wee Ned right in the head.
Yeah. Right off a rocket.
11.
I love it.
Sorry, can you repeat what floor that is? 11.
Oh yeah.
No, sorry. Can listen, you. And by the end of it, they're on each other's backs. Scotland, freedom.
I like the. You ever see Doberman Man?
No.
From Burniston. That's my favourite skit. Sally Tonin's boys is arch nemesis, and he keeps making fun of him for being a virgin or something like that. Like the most underwhelming superhero of all time. But anyway, so yeah, glad to hear that Christmas and New Year went.
Yeah, mine was literally no different to Jamie's. The only difference was I had one drink, and that was literally it.
Oh, any particular reason that you decided to have one drink? Oh,
I actually felt bad.
New Year? No, not.
Oh, this was
not
on
New
Christmas.
Year. On Christmas.
Obviously, my granddad's no longer at hospital, so he gets a bit funny drinking with everyone watching him because we're all Kenny's on a lot of tablets. So he did that. So he was like on orange juice or cranberry juice. That was fine. My Uncle Robbie was super hungover and he was doing the lift for my granddad. So I was like, "You're not drinking." And my old dear was busy cooking, as was I. But I was like, "I'm actually cracking open this bottle of Cava." Oh, I was disgusted. I looked at my Uncle Robbie and I went, "You went and spent about 50 quid on these bottles," and I looked at them and went, "They're shite." Like full on, like opened it and popped it. And you know when you drink something and you're like,
yeah.
I was like, oh my god, that is bad. I was like, that is so bad.
I think the only time that happened with me was my mum had won a bottle of mojito in a raffle, and we'd ran out of drink one night, right? So we were kind of went cupboard hunting for stuff, and we found half a bottle of Blue Wicked and that mojito stuff, which we thought would be. I mean, it was so disgusting, right? So we're like, right, let's put some Coca-Cola in this, and then it made us ill for like 3 days. Every time I see it now, like it's like PTSD from it. I'm just like, no, I can't look at that.
You're supposed to do mojitos with like fresh mint leaves and
Yeah, I know, but it wasn't like
was
pure,
that a pre-mixed one?
Yeah, it was a pre-mixed one,
you.
but it was still awful.
That with Blue Wicked.
No, we didn't mix Blue Wicked together.
Oh god.
We had Blue Wicked, and then we're like, right, are we gonna go for this mojito? Because we've spoke about kind of drinking times a lot before, but there's a period of time where you don't see the finish line. Like, there is no finish line. That doesn't exist.
No.
So we were like, what else? Because shops were shut and all this. It was way past like the sale time or whatever. So we're like, we'll just drink this, and then like a quarter of the way through the bottle, we're like, oh, this is rancid. So it's like someone's like, let's get Coca-Cola out, and that might fix it, which it didn't. It just made us all ill. Many moons ago, though.
I've got like nightmares about Bombay Sapphire and Sambuca, right? That's my two bugaboos.
Yeah.
Like I can't stand them. I look at the bottle and I just want to pulp everywhere. Two separate nights, two absolute nightmares. Nightmares. Horrible. You should have seen what I'd done to me. Surprised
I'm
got
kind of scared.
like drink driving.
Yeah.
Like, it's horrible. Absolutely rank.
It's like the same with
Drink driving the wheelchair, not the car.
Yeah.
Just so people understand this.
If anyone starts spreading misinformation about this, you fucking horrible people.
Got my cousin to blame for this half.
Yeah. But it's like the same like stuff like Jaeger bombs and that. Like I never choose to have a Jaeger. Well, I do, but like I don't purchase Jaeger bombs. Just people slap them in front of you, and you're like Jaeger bomb, and then you feel this peer pressure.
It's like a table, and there's like a big tray.
It could be like a cup of uranium, but that peer pressure just makes people drink it, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Because I think the drink that sets me off bad is your one's what is it? Bombay Sapphire gin. My one's brandy, and I mean any kind of brandy, expensive or cheap, I don't care. If I smell it, I'm gonna boke. Christmas pudding, I can't be near it. If it's getting served, I have to leave the room.
Oh yeah, because there's brandy in Christmas.
Can't stand the brandy. It's same with certain mince pies. Some mince pies are like brandy flavoring, while some of them are like they have brandy in them.
Yeah,
there's a big difference between the flavor and the actual brandy, and I'm like, oh my god! But that was because I was 15 and I drank a litre bottle in one night with no mixer, and I got woken up by some guy coming in the house party, and I remember standing up against his fridge And then I remember him slapping me in the face because I'd woken up on the floor. So I've always been that pissed. I've just went and hit the deck, passed out, and he's came in the kitchen trying to be a nice guy. 15, feeling like I'm God, and waking up like, who are you? Like, all raging at this bloody like military man who would literally just pick me up and snap me like a twig, but I didn't care. I was pissed and horrible state.
That's kind of what happens when you drink that much brandy, I suppose.
Oh, it was horrendous. But he gave me a pint glass of what I thought was vodka, and I'm like, "Well, Jess," he's vodka, and I'm sweet. I start necking it, and he's like, 1, 2, and I'm like, I'm not going to be sick. As soon as he hits 3, he opens the door, and I'm like, it was all water, and I was in the back garden with all these chucky
like
stones.
Getting the alcohol out of you, and it's always just liquid when you
everywhere. And I woke up the following morning in the chair, yawned, and I thought, what was that? They put Dairy Lee spreaded cheese on my face, right?
What?
They put lumps of ham on me, but the dog, what a legend, came up and ate the ham. So the next morning when I woke up, I had this dried on Dairy Lee cheese, and when I yawned, it pulled out all my hairs in my face.
Oh.
So I was like, ah!
Those evil geniuses.
I had to get my best pal, Martin Worth, a little legend. He lives down in Plymouth now. I had to get him. He's dragging my ass into the shower, and he's like holding my head over the shower with the shower unit. Fucking legit, because I'm in that
Were you
much
at
of
a house
state.
party or were you in
was at a
torture
house
camp
party.
or something?
We done it. Yeah, we done it big in Cyprus.
I love how
we done it so
before we
big.
came on, we were talking about bettering ourselves, and maybe
Yeah.
and then we just totally went.
We're gonna let you know why we're bettering ourselves.
We are disasters of human beings. We need help.
But I think the only exciting other news I've got really that's new for me is I've started talking to a lady friend.
Oh,
Yeah, very. I was quite shocked myself. I didn't expect it. Had the wee match, and I started chatting. And I thought, normally this is what happens. You speak.
I mean, is that person comfortable with you disclosing that?
I've not said her name.
Yeah, but she doesn't know who
True.
you
Oh, true.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Okay, fair
No,
enough.
no. But yeah,
What's her name?
she seems like a really nice woman.
Was it Jessie J?
No.
That narrows it down at least.
It's Katy Perry. But no, really nice client. Been chatting with her. Normally with these things, you end up chatting for like 1 or 2 days, and then it goes quiet, and then there's nothing else about it, and you're like, oh, well, that was a bit of a fucking kick to the stones, my confidence is super high right now. But yeah, speaking to her, it's like day 8, and I'm like, oh, yeah, this is actually not bad.
That's actually like
that.
something I've been thinking about doing a documentary on, dating app culture.
It's difficult, man.
I think
For someone like me, because I suffer anxiety, and that is
Yeah.
so hard. Trying to even think of a conversation with someone that I may think is slightly attractive. I'm like that. I can't think. I'm like,
I don't think it's because you don't get to see like body language either, right? You just
Exactly.
see pictures of each other, and like
And the way
that
I-
probably brings anxiety more.
the way I message the way I talk. So sometimes when I message people, it's like a paragraph, unfortunately, but it's because I actually write what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I'm reading them back, and I'm like, I bet this woman's looking at like in fucking paragraph, and I'm like, that's unfortunate. I don't want to sit there and be like, oh yeah, I've got anxiety, by the way. I'm not gonna be like that. I'm like, nah. It's like I don't know you that well.
What's
yet.
your name? I have anxiety. No.
It's either that or what you up to, like the W with the 2 U's and then the 2.
Yeah.
No, speak properly. I've got to speak proper.
You're a man of fine taste and distinguish.
Until I say gunner.
Well, just avoid saying that.
Gunner.
Well, you've said it now. I could cut it out. I've got your back
You're
here.
gonna edit this, yeah.
Yeah,
Boop, boop, boop.
yeah.
Going to.
Maybe. That's a lot of effort.
Maybe
for-
not.
Just for that one word,
I'll give you a wee bit of advice. Don't show the last video we done with the metabolism.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Put that in the. Oh my God. Do you know what? That's what got me through COVID.
I couldn't not say it. I had to say it.
Go in the podcast T-shirt, and if
we do. We actually need to
There's another
just.
t-shirt.
We need
we
to
need
get
to
someone
start
who's gonna
marketing
design.
this.
But it's not just that.
Because
we
we're
just need someone
sellouts
to
at the end
design
of the
an
day.
idea or a slogan that we have. We just need someone to do a graphic writing, and then we need to find a T-shirt print in place. We don't need someone for that. We just need to find a company for that.
Well, currently we have a few new thumbnails and profile picture
I
in
have seen
design.
that. I
Well,
said
gave
on
you a
one of
little,
them, I like
little
the
taster,
art
so
style.
it looks a
It's
bit
good.
more cleaner and professional than the kind of shenanigans I just mingled together.
I don't know the word I'm looking for. Is it abstract? It looks because it's not. Obviously, the lighthouse is a real building. It looks all in
Look
proportion
at you
and all
giving
of that.
spoilers out.
Like the picture of the lighthouse that we've got on that thumbnail looks
Yeah.
great, but the way it's done, I don't know how to explain it.
It is
looks,
a draft though. Like
Yeah.
there is going to be proper font instead
yeah, I
of the
know
writing
that,
that was
but-
on it and stuff.
I can't explain it. It's all right, don't matter.
There's so many different,
I can't
so
seem
many
to explain
different
it.
names for it. Different ways of art. Different kinds of art.
Like the style
It's hard to, I don't know how I would describe it, but I don't know if abstract would be like bright and
That's what I was
stuff, would it
thinking.
not? But I don't know. I like it though.
I think
do
it's
like
good
it.
that we're gonna get like a few different designs as well, just to mix it up.
Well, I'd say there's nothing wrong with us
yeah.
checking what's out there. I mean, if we're wanting this and we want someone to kind of do a good job, then we need to let them know. Unfortunately, guys, it's essentially a competition. Whoever gives us the best quality is going to be the one we're going to take.
It's a reality TV show. 4 of you came, only 1 of you will leave.
Yeah. Only 1 of you are leaving.
The 3 will be designing art for the Northeast Corner for eternity.
And the peasant who left, well, good luck.
Anyway, right. So I was just funny you bring up the metabolism comment because I was just about to make the joke that that's what got me through COVID. I trusted my metabolism and it prevailed in the end. But yeah, so my mum tested positive for coronavirus on the Christmas Eve, which was pretty devastating because, well, she took the test a couple of days before, but you know how everyone was going mental getting tested, so like they couldn't like get it back within 24 hours or what it usually is.
Jesus.
Like she was fine. She had like was ill for the 2 days, but when she actually got the results back, she was like better. But obviously, like I guess it was still in her system.
I think the PCR thing just lets you know if you had COVID when,
when the test was done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I had to isolate for 10 days. So we were due to be out on the 31st, and I was like, oh god damn it. I was like, at least it's not too bad though. I'll still get New Year, and that'll be okay. And then Christmas was good. It was very good. Nice, you know. I had a lot of beverages, you know, a lot of chocolates. I was watching Harry Potter. Like, what else am I going to do with my time?
Oh yeah.
And then Boxing Day, I think I was watching. We were just talking about Netflix series, and I was watching that like World War II documentary it was on about, and I just noticed that I was clearing my throat a little bit more than usual. And I was like, I'm living with I'm learning to live with someone with COVID. That should be the next slogan that Boris brings out. Learn to live with someone that has COVID.
No.
I don't know if you'll be here long enough.
No,
to make
I
that
don't think so.
statement.
We will definitely delve into that as we progress. But so I was like, right, okay. Let's just be on the safe side. It's probably nothing. It's probably just me being paranoid because someone in the house has it.
Yeah.
Because until I actually got it, I had avoided like this like Floyd Mayweather. Like at Lugs' party, I think a couple people had tested positive that I was around. I avoided it then. There's been people that have been in my house that have had it. I avoided it then. So I just assumed that I was quite ill in March. So I thought maybe I'd had it or something and just not realised. So you know how the current lateral flow tests, they're like smaller now. So they're only designed to be used for the
Flow Flex ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the rapid anti-aging ones and ones.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it wrong. It's not anti-aging.
Anti-gen?
That's the one. I was going to say, I'm going to do it again.
Only man of particular class can say.
I'm the peasant.
Can you imagine me being like your wingman? I was like, I think it's anti-gen actually, John.
Do you feel degraded?
Only a little bit.
Anyway, but then because there's the new strain, Omicron, you know, which sounds like a transformer and all that kind of stuff.
Literally.
It actually does, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, Ultron, you better watch out, bro.
Yeah. Did you see that they're trying to say like Delta, which was the previous, like this is how ridiculous it's getting. Delta, the previous variant, and Omicron are going to join together to cross a variant called Deltacron. This wasn't. I thought it was a meme when I seen it at first, but it was like I think it was maybe like some modeler or. Actually, I can't remember. But I see it was on like Sky News.
Why
do you know
don't
what
we
I mean?
get the anti-vaccines and mix them together so it tackles the Omicron B variant?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if that's how it works, surely we can just do that. And it'll work.
True.
You
We've
know.
got to be careful about that facts talk. YouTube's
We can't let people know.
YouTube's quite sensitive with that topic. But
YouTube, you're sensitive about how people feel. Why do you exist?
let's not bite the hand that feeds us. But so I read a thing. I did the nasal test. That sounds a bit weird, but it came back negative, right? So I was like, okay, it's fine. But then, right after I'd done this, I read a piece in the British Medical Journal that just said that this new strain, it's more detectable in saliva. So it's obviously like hard to swab your throat with the like whatever.
You're not supposed to do it with that one.
No, but I had to just.
Have to try and make something.
Yeah, I had to just do it just to make sure. So I was watching it at an angle, right? So if the test was there, I'm kind of like only seeing like the top half. So it looks negative again. So I'm just a way to like bin it, and I pick it up, and I'm like, oh. I was like to my mum, that's a second line, isn't it? And she was like, oh, aye. And I was like, do I report? And I was like, yeah, no, I'll have to fucking report. I wasn't ill at this point.
Did they show up in hazmats and bubble wrap?
Yeah, 2319. Yeah. So I reported it, and then I was like, okay, so the test and trace people are going to get in contact with me, which is pointless because I've been isolating for the last 3-4 days anyway because my mum's had it. So Boxing Day, they phone. I think I was sleeping or something. Then I got up, and then they phoned back. Blah 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 blah. They were like, "Where have you been?" I was like, "My kitchen, my utility room, maybe to the bathroom now and again."
But that's it.
But that's really it. And then they were asking where'd you work, what'd you do, what's your PIN number? No, they didn't ask the PIN number.
How much money you got?
I was like, is this really test and trace? So they were just like, okay, so you've got to restart your isolation period and that. I was like, oh, great, cool.
You have to restart it?
Yeah, so I had another 10 days on to the
From
5 days that
test.
I'd already been isolating.
Jesus Christ.
So I was in until January 5th. Now make it sound like I was detained or something.
You basically were.
Yeah. I was like, I'm getting it January 5th.
That's me out the jail.
Yeah. That's me out the Rona jail. And I still had no symptoms, right? And as soon as I put the phone down to the test and trace lady, I just went to when you go like that, you're cold or something, and I just noticed that skin was very tender compared to what it usually is.
Feeling like the cold pains, I call them.
Yeah, so I just thought, okay, it's probably paranoia again, because if I've tested positive on Boxing Day, I've probably had it for longer than that. So I was like, let's just see what happens, optimistically thinking that I've just played tricks on myself. But no, I started feeling very, very cold, and I was lying on the couch, and my mum had phoned 111 for an unrelated issue to do with health, but she was noticing that when she had coronavirus for the 2 days when she was actually ill, she was using covers and that, but her fever and that got really bad, not to the point of hospitalization or that, but it was just intense. And the doctor that she was speaking to was saying that if you get chills, fever and that, the worst thing you can do for it is cover up, because it just either prolongs it or it intensifies it more.
Yeah.
So there was a cover right next to me on the couch when I'm feeling like I'm in the North Pole. And I was like, I really want to use that cover right now.
Snuggle onto it.
I was like, I really want to use that cover right now, but I know I can't. I was like, I've got to tough this out. So that went away. But then the fever came, and then the headache. The headache was really, really intense. Right? I'm not saying to the point of I need hospital or that, but I'd seen headaches like that before, but not come on as quick. And then,
mate, I'm a fully grown man, and I can get headaches that will actually reduce me to tears.
Yeah.
I hate people who suffer headaches and migraines. I give you all my sympathy. I can't stand them. They drive me insane. I get erratic because it's something you can't stop.
Yeah.
You can take tablets to try shift it, but it's not an instant quick fix, is it?
No.
You've got to sit there and deal with pain. And if you are that focused on such a brutal headache, tablets do nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're sat there and I've seen me wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and literally standing at my sink and sticking my head in a sink, and I'm just swashing my hair around it, just trying to get tension, pressure, anything off, and just to get my scalp to cool down. Towels, back of the neck, on top of my forehead, and that's the only way I can deal with it. I have to essentially numb pain receptors. I have to numb something enough so I can just, and then I'm okay. But wow.
Well, I must have drank about a gallon of water.
And you still go. Were you sweating a lot though?
Yeah, when I went to my bed, right, because I need to go try and sleep, because I always say, and then as soon as I only had the covers up to my waist, and it was no, your fever's intense. You've had the cover, you've cheated. It's time for you to pay. And I think I had a little temperature gun. I think it was 39 degrees at one point, but I think it was I was sweating as well, all this kind of stuff. So I was like, right, this is not working. I got to go back down to the couch. Headache's still going and everything. Continue to try and drink it out of me, water of course. And then I took some paracetamol, because my mum said she took paracetamol and her headache didn't shift at all, but it actually did help a little bit, very slightly, but it was enough to
bit of relief,
just
kind of relief.
Exactly. But I noticed that wherever I'd pressure my head, if that makes sense, when you're lying down, so it was okay lying. I don't know if you can see that. It's okay lying
flat.
Yeah, but if I went to the side, it would just get instantly worse again. But here's the bananas thing about all of this. So this happened for about a 5, potentially 6 hour period. Now, it didn't gradually go away. It just vanished. And it went from me not really being able to stand up because, like, you know, stuff was going on
down,
to me going for a beer and a cigarette and going,
I'm fine.
are we good? Is that it?
Yo, COVID, are we cool?
Yeah, that was it. So after that, I was completely better.
But would you not like get a wee bit of paranoia? Like, this is going to fucking come again.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like...
It's going to hit me like a train.
I was like, oh, I better go have a beer after that stressful experience. And then I was like thinking... And then I was thinking as I was drinking the beer, wait a minute, this shit could bring it back. But no, the only thing that I had for the next 2-3 days is a blocked nose, and that was it. And then I was tired, but I think that was more to do with the fact that night had wrecked my sleep pattern because...
Yeah.
It's not just that. Your body's been working overtime.
My metabolism had been fighting off the virus.
Correctly used, I might add. His metabolism needed a break, and that's not a mistake.
Sounds like your mum got it. But worse.
Yeah. Yeah, well... I don't want to like blame my mum for getting coronavirus because anyone can get it.
Your mum works in a store.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But she had been out that weekend, and all I said was like, I watched a statistician. Is that the correct pronunciation for that? I'm looking for the offside flag, but
I don't know.
A guy that does stats, right? Oh god, we're not doing any more history ones. not after that St Andrew's Day one. That's too traumatic. So I was watching him, and he was saying that with the way that this is growing, this is out competing the common cold by ×2, which is pretty crazy, right? Because the common cold's meant to be the most transmissible thing that goes about, and it's obviously mild, which this one seems milder in the sense that not as many people... that not as many people are going to hospital. I know it spiked during Christmas, but it's always going to do that when so many people are affected at once.
And it's poor weather conditions.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is just rife.
Like I mentioned, I don't know if I've mentioned this before we came on, but when we were at Lugs's birthday a few weeks back, a few people that had been around had tested positive, right? So that was like a scare then, because that was like on the border of if you got COVID, then you would be isolating on Christmas Day, which I was determined not to do. I knew I was going to get it at some point, but I just wanted to time it in a way that my Christmas and New Year wouldn't be ruined. So that, you know, so I just said to my mum, just be careful. I don't know how you can be careful, I suppose, because it's that infectious that I suppose we're all going to get exposed to it eventually.
I reckon it just needs to happen.
Yeah.
It sounds so mean. I reckon I caught it when it first came out when I was still down in Gloucester. I spent 14 days in bed. Jesus. I was cream crackered. I was honestly goosed. But I was going... My one was strange because obviously at this point it was just a COVID-19 variant. That was the only variant that was around.
Yeah.
And when I got hit with it, I could hardly get out of bed. I think it was 12 days I literally spent in my room. I could hardly eat. I was drinking fluids, but I've always been one for you know what I'm like with juice. Yeah. I could literally be throwing up and I'll still be like, give me juice. It's just what I'm like. Yeah, it's just what I'm like with juice. I'm all right with that. But the food size, I think I must have lost about 3/4 of a stone.
Yeah, my mum lost a stone.
Like I just was wasting away. I mean, my metabolism, correctly used, is it works really, really fast. I'm a smoker as well, so obviously my metabolism is really high, and it just burnt and it just wasted me away.
We're not promoting smoking on here, by the way.
Huh?
We're not promoting smoking on here.
No. It's an actual fact.
This isn't the 50s.
No. Smoking improves your metabolism.
I could hardly smoke because I was in my room and I didn't smoke in the house. So it was another thing.
That's the thing. The original or the previous variants, original strain, all that have always affected the lung,
your nose,
respiratory system and stuff. Whereas this new one, because I didn't cough or anything through this, or I didn't have any breathing difficulties, I suppose it differs from person to person as well. And obviously, like, you know, I've been vaccinated as well, so I suppose that's gonna.
I've still only had fucking one of them. I need to bring the walk-in.
Have you not been vaccinated yet?
No, fully. I've had one of them. And I've got to do LFTs every day for my work, haven't I? So I'm probably one of the other folk like you guys who I'm really on top of mine. Although I may not have had my second injection, I'm on top of if I'm infected or not. Because I need to be, because I work with children. So I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Oh, man from Lossiemouth infects the school. I'd be like, oh no.
Have you worried them more about they're going to infect you?
Do you know what?
It comes from a lot of people get.
Yeah.
Since we have kids from all around the world, we have big issues at that school. We've got them coming back, and instead of serving like 600 odd kids at dinner time, we're serving anywhere between 50 and 100 because a lot of them are either testing positive or they're from a red country.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So it gets to that point
When he
where,
says a red country, the red list.
yeah, sorry,
That's not insane. Like say it's like politics or anything.
It's like their tier system for rating it. If you're in a red country, you ain't allowed to travel outside it. Unfortunately,
The red country being
just
China.
Yeah, do you know what worried me? Say that if you look on these Flexi Flow test things, guess where they're made?
Oh yeah, China. But everything's
China.
Everything's made in China.
But it's that thing though, you know.
That's what
powers
powers
the Chinese started all of this. So we're going to take tests from them.
That's what powers their economy, that they've perfected pretty much the manufacturing market. Like I'm not surprised.
It's anything with plastic, mate.
Yeah.
If it's plastic, China's all over it. And that's actually really true, though, isn't it? Anything that's plastic nowadays, you look at it, made in China.
Yeah.
It's crazy, though, isn't it? Like how much stuff they actually make. That you
It
don't
is.
know they make.
Well, yeah.
It might scare you a wee bit.
You could probably see them make things in China and then it gets shipped off to like Australia, the UK, or America, and then we're like made in the UK. When actually, no, it's not. It's like you're just putting the innards in. They make you the shell, you put the innards in it.
Yeah.
It's still made in China. It's like all your mechanisms are probably from China. Oh, it's British made because we made it here.
Yeah. But that's the thing, like, I think in the kind of Western world, if you want, I think we've probably adopted a bit of a lazier kind of approach to this and just kind
we
of
like to outsource a lot.
Yeah.
We do like to outsource. But sometimes, I mean, you outsource for a good
which is
deal.
good because you get the stuff, but at the same time, it kind of wrecks your own economy because you've got no
you don't give jobs to people.
You've got no infrastructure in your own country because you're outsourcing it all.
Because you're outsourcing it because it's cheaper, so less money's coming to your country. And you are right. All that means for us is things start costing more. Essentially, that's it for us.
That's when trading deals just sort of kind of go.
Yeah.
Oh, you want oil? Well, it was 50 quid a barrel. Now it's £500 a barrel.
Yeah.
And you can't do nothing about it. You're gonna have to pay it.
Yeah, well, exactly.
It's like a taxi driver on New Year's Day. But like, that'll be £200, sir. I just went to the co-op.
Here the co-op's pretty dear nowadays.
Yeah.
Like you go in there and I just buy like a little bit of bits and bobs and stuff, and it's like that'll be £10 1 pence, and I'm like,
Excuse me,
really,
sir?
1p.
1 pence?
The thing for me with that co-op, there's certain things I go in there for. I do like their meat. It may be a bit expensive, but obviously I worked for that company for 6 years, and when you work for a company for that long, you learn a lot about them.
Yeah.
And that company, for its quality, phenomenal, absolutely
No,
phenomenal.
the God good, and I would agree with that.
It's just like the meats, like the meats that they sell, like the co-ops. I love chicken thigh. I love chicken on the bone. I just love it on the bone. And they do 2 packs of chicken thighs for £4 quid. That's like 4 meals, man, throughout the week. It's like just £4 quid for that.
Just waiting for Ryan to go. Other supermarkets are available.
We're not just focusing on this, but it's our local shop, so deal with it.
But the thing is, though, I think you're mentioning the co-op, and I think like people say the same kind of things about Aldi and Lidl and that, and I think. I think the bigger the kind of supermarket chain, the more likely it's going to be not, well, I don't know, worse probably, because they're doing more things, they need not more, cut corners, but they're kind of manufacturing, all the other stuff that goes into it is stretched more, right?
Co-op's small, it can focus on a farm, for example.
Exactly,
Asda's massive, it needs all the farms.
Yeah.
That's essentially it. But you are right, when you're focusing on quantity, you start letting quality dip. And I think that's why sometimes I do like the littler stores, because quality seems to be more of a focus rather than quantity. Yeah, they want stuff on their shelves, but at the end of the day, they don't sacrifice the quality of the food.
Well, I think one of the biggest problems we have with supermarkets and that, like they're always talking about, the diet needs to be better and stuff like that. But have you seen how quick,
how hard it is?
How
to eat
quick,
a diet?
for something like produce to go off? It's literally like a day sometimes.
And it's like, I don't have the time to go and do a shop every day.
Yeah.
To make sure I get my 5 a day.
What really gets me, right, is quite annoying, is that my mum would order, she would maybe order it online, right, and then it would either get delivered, right, or we go up and pick it up. But it don't matter whatever you do. Like, you look at, you've got 2 days to drink fucking 4 pints of milk, 6 pints of milk. Like, what is that about? Like, why? Obviously, you can't literally go and pick your dates like you can in the shop. And how do you expect someone to drink that much milk?
You can't, because I know what you mean, because I used to do online Tesco shops, and I mind looking at my milks, and it'd be like, oh, you get a 3-day shelf life on it, and I'm like, so basically what they do is they walk around the store, and they don't go to the back, it's all scanned, they tell you, they're already told what date is available to them, they go grab the first one.
Yeah.
They grab the first thing, but you can also go there and say on their ends where they've got all their specials, I'm using Christmas as an example here. So pigs and blankets, you order pigs and blankets online, you get nothing. But you'll go into the store and it'll be on an end. And it'll be pigs and blankets everywhere. The difference will be about 15p, but instead of giving you that for a substitution and letting you off 15p, you just won't get, you might get parsnips. Legit, I don't know where the hell their mind goes.
Parsnips and towels.
And you stood there and you're like, what genius thought that was a great substitute? It's like when me and my mum, we're like celiacs. So if we order gluten-free and they give us normal bread, that is out of the question. We can't have that substitute. We actually cannot touch that substitute. And it's the same thing with some of the other crap they throw in. It's like, it's got wheat in it. Oh, yeah, so? Everything else in my shop is gluten-free. Are you thick? Like, without being mean, are you thick? Yeah. Because this is stressful for people like me. It's like, just do it online. Stay safe. Well, it's not safe for me when you're poisoning me with food that is actually going to mess with my intestines. You know, it's like, that's not healthy. That's not keeping me safe. That's making it more difficult and more stressful for people.
Yeah, the substitute thing is a joke.
It is an absolute joke.
It is a joke.
And it's one of those things, I know it's difficult because it means companies like that need to open up a call centre as such. But they should have someone who can be like, right, unfortunately, we don't have this item for you.
Would you like something else, or would you just can't?
This is what's available in that aisle. Or if you can think of something else, let me know.
I'll use someone else, right? The Buccaneer. Obviously, they've been taken over, right?
Yeah.
Is it Budgeons or something? Budgeons.
Yeah, something
like that.
It's
a new 24-hour garage type thing, isn't it?
Yeah, well, like you can get an app, right? And you can order whatever you want. You go through it. Like you can order whatever you want to your house. Wow. Like crisps, milkshakes. You can even order frozen pizza. You can order anything like that.
That's crazy.
Hot dog turnovers and all that.
Because this Budgeons is an English company. They've just came up here and taken some of these gas stations by storm.
I think they're actually owned by Indian gentlemen. I think.
Right.
But anyway. Yeah, I've ordered I ordered stuff last week or the week before, and like you can pick whatever time you want. It comes and drops it off, and it's brilliant.
Yeah,
I've ordered more today for
like
tonight.
A house on fire, that kind of thing. Because that's
is it fairly priced?
Honestly, but it's like Tuck Shop.
Oh, that's not bad.
Like all the crisps and stuff like that. It's like all like it's great. It's brilliant. And I've ordered more stuff for tonight, and it gets delivered at like 6:15 or whatever. But
goes back to what we were saying. Smaller companies work better.
and they didn't have a couple of things that I'd ordered last week. And the lady phoned me up and she was like, listen, we've got this or that. What would you rather have?
Yeah, see, that's what you want, though,
so
isn't it? That's a service.
Yeah. Just as we were saying, that was exactly what she did.
That is what you want.
That is going to be very popular.
Yeah.
And we've kind of let the secret out the bag now. We should have maybe just
kept that. I'm
going to go on to get stuff. There's going to be no place.
It's like, God damn it, I like to moan at people.
But you know, Budgeons, if you want to sponsor a certain local podcast, feel free.
But yeah, it's brilliant, honestly. Really
is. That model's going to take, as soon as people hear about that, because I bet like probably a lot of people don't know about that yet.
I didn't know about that.
They've got these milkshake machines up there called Freel. And it's like made with, I ordered a chocolate one, it's actually made with ice cream. Oh, it's unbelievable.
Damn.
It's absolutely unbelievable.
Last time I had a proper ice cream milkshake, I lived in Cyprus and worked at Lady Lampson's, which was the cafe right opposite the med centre, and used to get squaddies, officers in there all day, every day. I remember going in and you get the worst little blender I've ever seen in my life. 2 scoops of ice cream, a little bit of full fat milk, chuck it on. Obviously the ice cream, sometimes if it's still super frozen, it was just an absolute nut. You just watch milk go everywhere and you're like, oh bugger.
Speaking of milk,
sometimes you got to warm it up and you stick it in, and everyone used to go mad for them. €1, sorry, they were €1, and they were bigger than that, like that, massive things, and it was just £1. Like, I'd expect that from McDonald's, you know, like something like that. Near from like a normal just cafe. I was like, that's quality. Yeah. Amazing.
Just for the benefit of the viewer, John was pointing to his can.
My can. Bigger than this.
Yeah. The milk thing's been a bit of a hot debate recently, in the sense of they're talking about it's one of the most wasted like food sources in the world because of how often it goes out of date and people just bin it in that. So they're talking about doing something like the sniff test, of where people like smell their milk.
I saw that on the news yesterday.
But I smell my milk every day. If it says it's in date,
someone made a great point. Well, that's going to be great for anyone that's suffering from long COVID that's lost their sense of smell.
Yeah,
in it.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Like, how are they going to be able to tell?
Yeah.
You got lumps in it? Nah, I'll be fine.
Someone go put a fork through that.
Does it look like cheese?
Oh, do you remember that story that? Did you ever hear the story that Noel Gallagher told about his brother with a fork in the champagne?
What?
Enlighten me. I think I might have heard this.
I think he was on TalkSport or something. I used to watch a thing called TalkSport. There was like a late night sports bar thing, and I would be like up late, like, because this is when I was like proper into like animation and stuff, trying to like put things together. So I was listening to this at like 2 a.m, and I think they had a clip that they'd recorded earlier because they'd have him on to talk about Man City or something, nothing important. But he was talking about. They were asking him about stories about his brother, right? Because obviously, like, this is like brothers that have been bickering with each other since the day they were born.
Yeah.
And they were like, "You must have some funny stories about him or something." He's like, "All right, well, I have one." And he was like, he was round my house one time for some kind of party or something, and he opened the fridge, and he was asking me, "Why you got a fork in the champagne?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, it's to keep it fresh, apparently," because he'd heard that, like, apparently if you put like this fork in the cork of the champagne, it keeps it fresh or something. So he was like, right, okay. He says, "I didn't think anything of it." Right? He's like, "I went round to his the next week and there was a fork in the milk."
Like, that's just Liam, man.
Yeah, it really
is.
Is.
Like, because he's like, he can be quite intelligent in a way, but then see in some ways, like, you just think, how do you put your socks on? Like, but like, I love, see, like, a lot of people, like, music fans, like myself, and obviously like you, and like, we sort of, you're either team Liam or your team Noel.
Yeah, it's quite tribal, isn't it?
I'm both. Like,
yeah.
I enjoyed them both. There's a funny story that Noel said about we're talking about when I think definitely maybe had just got, like, I don't know, #1 album or whatever it was, I can't remember. And the record label had a party, and they were like presenting people with like gifts and stuff, and the record label, there was like a chocolate brown Rolls Royce outside.
Oh yeah.
Right? They were like they were presenting Rolex watches, and Liam got a Rolex watch, and Bonehead got a Rolex watch, and then the guy at the record company goes, "Yeah, no, that Rolls Royce is yours, right?" And then they were sitting there going like this. It was like Liam sitting there going, "Rolex,
yeah,
Rolls Royce." Obviously, Noel wrote all the tunes and that, right?
Yeah.
And Noel said it was quite funny because he can't drive and Liam can't tell time.
Yeah.
It was funny.
Oh, me.
I heard a rumor as well.
I did not expect that to end like that.
There was a good one as well where he was in like a bar, and apparently, like, because the TalkSport radio presenter then gave him a story that he had heard, and he was saying that, like, he was at a bar, right, and he was speaking to this woman, and I don't know, the conversation about religion came up or something, right? And I think he must have asked this lady, "Oh, what's your religion?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm an atheist." He's like, "What?" And he was like, "What is that?" And she's like, "Oh, it's where you don't believe in religion and stuff like that." Apparently his response was, "Fuck me, they've got a word for that now."
An atheist is someone who's actually open to the thought of religion, but just doesn't follow a religion.
Yeah. Is that
That's
not
what it is?
Agnostic or something?
Agnostic is like pure, just don't believe it.
Okay, so
I believe, or I might have them both. One of them's.
I think agnostic might be the one that you're thinking of, and atheist might be the one where they just don't believe in a higher power.
Okay, I'm positive I'm atheist. I ain't Christian or anything.
So there's so many words.
Yeah, it's probably a topic we shouldn't fuck up. Feels like
just because this is one that normally offends people. Yeah. But once again, it's all personal opinion.
Moving swiftly on. But yeah, so
the Great Divide.
We've got about 15 minutes. It's kind of crazy how quick this hour goes, right? So we've got 15 minutes left. So we'll talk about some current events. I guess we've kind of already been doing that, but
yeah.
So on New Year, I stood out in the garden and had a beer and a cigarette because I couldn't leave my premises, and I was watching fireworks and everyone else was sleeping in my house, so I was like, I might as well entertain myself in some tragic way. But
make myself feel better.
Yeah. But when I came back in, you know how they do the honours list?
Yeah.
So people get knighthoods, MBEs, OBEs and all that kind of stuff, which I think is a bit of a farce, really, like, because it's mostly notable people. Like, Jeff Stelling said it best in the sense of, I think that kind of stuff should be going to, like, every day regular people that are doing amazing things in the communities and stuff
NHS
like that.
Stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So usually it's people that do with sport and all that, and politicians and stuff that everyone hates anyway, and probably the most divisive. Well, not divisive. Probably one of the most hated politicians that this country's ever had. If how his kind of term ended and whatever, in situations he's been involved with, Tony Blair has received a knighthood.
Sorry, but what's he done since he left?
Yeah, he just kind of talks, really, doesn't he?
In all fairness, ever since that god awful time way back when with him and George Bush, I ain't heard nothing about him.
I'm the same. I didn't.
I honestly didn't even know he was still alive.
I forgot he existed. I forgot he existed.
Because I seen his face. I've seen it on Facebook. There was something about him getting this knighthood. And, like, the face he's got on there, I'm like, you look like the Joker.
Yeah.
Like,
he hasn't aged well, man. Like, you can look at him and, like, oh, you're pure evil. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like, he actually looks like he does look evil. That's the best word for it. It's like, before I say anything else, evil. He does. He's got that evil look about him.
He looks like what Americans think all British people look like.
Yeah.
You know, Family Guy.
Some crazed man. But yeah, it's despicable. I mean, what has he done that's made people be like, you can get a knighthood? Because I'm not joking. I mean, I've met toddlers which have probably done more for communities than what he's done. He destroyed families and communities. He made sure that some families didn't have a family anymore. And we're like, we're going to knight him for it.
Do you know that Help for Heroes thing? And I need to have that award ceremony where people do like amazing things like the Grenfell Tower and firefighters and stuff. Like, it should be them guys.
Like the Pride of Britain award and stuff like that.
Yeah. like look how long it took Billy Connolly to get a knighthood.
Exactly, right? Yeah.
And then you get Lewis Hamilton wins a few championships, and then
and like he's making crazy money already. And
it's like he doesn't need.
Hate on Lewis Hamilton, like fair play in that. Like,
but I know what I mean.
Like, so it annoys me that all these famous folk who have loads of money are getting all these great honours. I mean, why not? Like you say, why not someone from Dr. Grace, who's an NHS nurse who's been in there every day during COVID? Why isn't she getting recognised? Or he or she, sorry.
Like, I'm not saying don't recognise some famous people.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I'm not saying that, but like that's all you're seeing.
Yeah. It's a very
fake
elite thing, isn't it? Like,
it's fake.
Yeah, it is.
Let's celebrate people like that are in like good positions. Yeah,
exactly. It's just a bullshit stamp on your
name. What about the guy that there was an attack at the hospital and he locked the guy in the taxi?
In the taxi, it blew up, and he literally gave his life because he was in there when it blew up, and then he ran out.
Yeah,
he survived that. I don't know how.
And he probably saved lives by not,
because that was, where was it going?
I think it was like it was a Liverpool hospital, was it?
Yeah,
something like that.
And he was planning on doing blowing. So that guy deserves.
This is what these honours should be going to, in my opinion. And they shouldn't be going to Tony Blair of all people. They really shouldn't.
That's actually offensive. It offends me to be British sometimes, because I'm like, who the hell? I didn't say that we should do this, and I'm part of Britain. Like, why are we listening to some toff?
It feels like that's what Billy Connolly said, right? Britain's been run by toffs for probably
Billy Connolly literally needs to be in power, eh? I know he's got Parkinson's and whatnot, but he knows what's happening.
It's great someone that deserves what he got. That guy.
It's great to see him still in good spirits, even though like he's got
the big yen. I do want his statue to get done, though. I actually want him to get a statue.
He needs a statue. He deserves one.
He deserves one.
A great human being and a funny
old
chest.
I think he's brilliant.
Billy Connolly live in Albert when he's live in Albert Hall, and he was doing a skit, and I can't remember the way he says it because it's Billy Connolly. I mean, he just baffles me the way he makes things just funny. But he's going on about this house party, and he's looking at these two folk in a sleeping bag, and he's like, I'm absolutely wrecked. And he goes, honestly, it just looked like a fucking spewing maggot. it's like convulsion and shite's coming out the top, and it's because these two folk are trapped in this sleeping bag and they're starting chucking up, and he's like, I just didn't know what was happening. He's like, fuck knows, I was you there. And I'm sat there thinking, that's one hell of a house party story to tell on live in Albert Hall.
Can you think of the parties he went to though? He was a proper hippie stoner guy,
He's just such a legend.
To be going about in banana boots.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I know a couple of guys in this town that met him in Elgin. Elgin High Street. Rhys Morris and John McClane, they both met him on Elgin High Street, and they tried to get Rhys did get 2 copies of his autograph. One was supposed to go to John, but then Rhys kept it and gave it to his mum. But they were doing the typical thing when they're walking away. You bastard! Doing his lines at him, and apparently they got a wee smirk and he carried on.
But I think, this whole honour system, like we've just said, this is like a system, innit? These people are guaranteed to get this 10 years after they've been empowered, because it just happens constantly. There's a petition, so if anyone feels as strongly as what any of us do about Tony Blair getting his knighthood rescinded, there is a petition on change.org, which I might even link in the description. because we don't owe Tony Blair anything.
We really don't.
It's at, as it stands, 1 million signatures. So the government are going to have to debate this, because I think it's like, is it 100,000 or something? They end up debating it. So it's absolutely smashed that.
It goes to the next stage.
Yeah.
And then it goes, I think there's 3 stages in total. Isn't there?
Yeah. And in reality, this is probably not going to get his knighthood rescinded, but at least we'll send a message that they can't be rused into thinking that people wanted this, because they haven't.
If 1 million people are telling you not a chance, that's a big part of the population here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It just shows you how, first of all, it shows you how hypocritical politicians can be, and how scared they are to actually speak what they probably really think, in the sense of the current Labour leader, right? So Tony Blair was a Prime Minister of the Labour Party when the Labour Party were in power. The current Labour leader is Sir Keir Starmer, so he's also been knighted. He was like a lawyer or something beforehand. He was on one of these morning programmes. I've seen a clip of this. It was a Good Morning Britain. Is that what it's called? It used to be GMTV or something. He was on there, and they were questioning him about it, because the petition had reached like 500,000 signatures in 3 days or something like that, before it went to like 1 million and stuff. They were talking to him about this, because he had just came off the back of saying Boris shouldn't get any honours and stuff like that because of the COVID and the death toll and that, which I think everyone agrees with, right? Boris shouldn't be getting any honours. No. But also this guy shouldn't be getting any honours. Because if we're talking about the COVID death toll of 150,000 people, which is a lot of people, and a lot of...
what did he do with Iraq and Basra and all
600,000 people died in that war, on all sides, right?
And my dad had to go out and do 2 tours there because of that fool.
Yeah, and it's like, what was it for in the end? Because there was no WMDs in the end. Do you know what I mean? It was like, it wasn't a justifiable action that they did, and he was part of that, and he shouldn't. If I was him and I had any decency about me, I would be rejecting that.
I'd be saying, Bush, because do it on your own.
No, not just that, but I'm talking about current day now. If he had any decency, in my opinion, he would reject that knighthood.
Yeah,
because he knows how people feel about him. There was an inquiry where he had to go and explain the whole decision making and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, obviously, like, the Iraq war is now over and stuff. But at the end of we're talking about people like losing loved ones. Everyone lost loved ones in that on both sides, and 600,000 people,
gone.
The fact that though we are where we are as a civilization, the fact that we're still going to war, is an embarrassment.
Yeah,
And it's all just because certain people just don't want to believe other people, which is fine.
It's all about money, though.
You're not wrong. Over there, I get quite pernickety with it. I can't say anything I'm about to say is facts, because it's probably not, But at the end of the day, I fully believe we went over there for one thing, and that's to get a foothold in oil. And we also like being over there because we also do a lot of weapons trade. There is a lot of weapons trade none of us are aware of, but a lot of it comes in and out of Afghan.
Yeah. Have you ever seen
a lot of drugs going in and out?
Yeah.
And that was back in some of the wars as well. Yeah. But this stuff doesn't just disappear.
Have you either of you seen the documentary 9/11, the new Pearl Harbor?
No.
It's on YouTube. It's 5 hours long, so you're gonna have to watch it in stages.
It's going to be the longest documentary ever.
I'm currently watching. I'm like an hour and a half in, and it's not like a conspiracy thing in the sense of like, this was a setup and all this kind of stuff. It's more questioning stuff in the sense of they think that this could have been prevented, and they believe that they know that this could have been prevented. So why wasn't it prevented? Now, apparently, with George W. Bush's when he was elected president in the year 2000, I think it was, one of the first things that he came to the table with is how we're removing Saddam Hussein. So it was comparing the two because apparently the rumor or the theory about Pearl Harbor is that Franklin D. Roosevelt let that happen so that everyone would back a war with Germany because he was wanting that anyway, and America were like, we don't want to get involved in a war with Europe, but Japan was allies with Germany, so it kind of linked in together. And they're kind of trying to compare this to Afghanistan ends up linking into Iraq.
Yeah,
and that gave them the justification to go there and blah, 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 blah. It's very interesting. It's 5 hours on YouTube. If you're never needing anything to listen to or whatever, put it on. It's not like aggressive, like, it's not like proper like InfoWars, like, Gates and all this kind of stuff.
It's information.
It's just pointing out stuff that they know and stuff that's like fact and disproving some of these debunker stuff and that and asking questions. And it's the most detailed breakdown thing I've ever seen on the kind of official narrative of that. So it's very good.
That sounds interesting.
Well, I mean, every 9/11 documentary I've ever watched And obviously, I've watched a couple of documentaries on, Pearl Harbor and stuff before, but every one of 9/11, I've always felt it was too short. I always felt like I wanted it to keep going.
Yeah.
So I probably would. Yeah, that probably would be.
I'll link it to you later on in the podcast chat that we have going on.
The best one I ever watched about 9/11 was called Loose Change, and that was back. Oh God, I was living in Northern Ireland when the whole 9/11 thing happened. So I was between the ages of 10 and 12, and we used to go to the Saturday market in Northern Ireland and go get all your DVDs, your games chipped. But hey, that's just what it was at. That's not my fault. I didn't sell them. But yeah, you go there, and I remember one of the DVDs, and I remember my dad saying to me, he goes, see, if this was out in America, this would cause a civil war. That was my dad's exact words to me. And that was all to do with that loose change conspiracy theory thing about the whole 9/11. And my dad's a military man, and even if he's sitting there going, that would spark a civil war.
And I think
I was like, wow,
it's quite stuff, quite generally accepted that the state will keep things. We even discussed this on the UFO episode, that the state will keep things from the public because they know that the public pose a risk.
Because they know they're going to get ran out.
But exactly. But it's like, just going back to what I was saying about Keir Starmer, they confronted him about the whole petition and that, and he totally bitched out of it by saying, well, I think Tony Blair was a great prime minister and stuff like that, and he's deserving of the honour, and living wage went up in that, and just totally kind of went around it. Do you know what I mean?
That's what they're
living wage went up, but tax went up.
Yeah. And it's you're trying to say that Boris is dishonest and avoids things and that, and you're doing the exact same thing. Do you know what I mean?
Painting a picture. So it's probably because him and Tony Blair have got a cahoots for something.
Yeah, I shared a video, right? There's a guy talking about there's a moment, they show dictators in documentaries and stuff like that, and you always wonder, there's always a moment where they could have probably stopped it or something could have changed, and it never happens. And he thinks we're in this kind of moment now of how everyone's kind of getting away with stuff. We're talking about Boris's parties and all that. Admittedly he's under pretty intense pressure right now, but he's even if he was to go now, it's this probably should have came a year ago or something, because of the amount of stuff that he's been involved in. But he was talking about the kind of liberty and all that kind of sides with the policing bill that's being scrapped, which means they can control numbers on protests and your volume and that, which is ridiculous, because people say peaceful protest and all that, and I agree with that, but at the same time, protests are meant to be inconvenient.
Yeah.
Exactly. So if you can't block a government official to go where they're going to make a message heard, then that's if you're standing 50 feet away from Downing Street, it doesn't affect their day. That's not a protest. They're not,
They're stand on the opposite side of the road.
Yeah, they're just manipulating it so that you can.
So they can still get on with what they need to get on with.
But it's just not going to affect with what they have planned. So
you're right. It's just ignorance is bliss. That's essentially what I hear there.
And it's I was making the point that we're always divided, right? It depends on whether you're an SNP voter, a Conservative voter, a Labour voter, and that. And my kind of point of view on it now is that they're all the same thing. They might have different policies and all that kind of stuff, but their goal is pretty much the same.
The one thing I would add to that, they always say they have different things they're going to do, but 9 times out of 10, it all ends up with them getting money.
You just took a word out of my mouth, really. I was literally just about to say, I feel like they're all the same beast. They just look different.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
They're all wolves in cheap clothing, definitely.
They're all
they've got more in common with each other than they'll ever have with us.
Oh yeah, don't imagine them. If I turn around to any of them and say, "Oh, where'd you buy your toothpaste? Do you go Poundland?" Nah, mate, I buy it straight out of Dettle. It's
it's just crazy how because I believe that the kind of tribalism of politics and that is a purposeful thing done for people to argue amongst each other, because it doesn't even happen in the actual kind of political spectrum. Nicola Sturgeon will hammer Boris Johnson 1 week on TV and elbow bump with him at COP26 the next, and it's I know people be oh, they're just being civil and stuff, but it's they're almost mates compared to a week ago where you're talking about
we got loads of attention for that,
and
didn't we?
all these kind of horrible things he's doing, and that was we'll show it. Then I just
do you know what I actually thought the day is that what's his name, that Keir
Starmer,
he's sitting in Parliament the day, right, and he's literally ripping Boris a new arsehole, right, but then I guarantee you they're at parties together drinking and oh, here, you got me good on Tuesday.
Yeah, literally.
Do you know what I mean? That's what I feel like.
It's drama. It's
a
media.
pantomime.
You play it up for the
media.
It's
literally just these standards and
it actually is.
And people,
it's like a soap.
It's also because the paper and all that, and all these people, they put it on websites, and some of these things you have subscriptions you pay for, and all they need to do is create a little bit of drama. everyone on their little systems. Oh, let's read this. Let's go on. And it's just more and more money.
And I think they realise the kind of
we're the idiots.
Drama makes money.
I don't want to like blame like you know, one part of society, but like a football fan kind of culture of like, you know, if you're like I know it happens with me as well. Like, for example, like if your football team is shite, you're not going to say they're shite, right? You're always going to call the opposite team shite, even though they're like miles better. If it's beyond debate, it's just like you won't admit that, and that's what it's like with politics, right? Like they would rather continue being wrong and just argue with people than like coming together and admit, like finding a middle ground or I understand your opinion, all this kind of stuff. It's like all this kind of division and fierceness and that is benefiting them because it's like, oh my god, they're like all divided in that, and we're just like continuing doing what we're doing.
It's like a football thing though, like Lossy will be playing Rangers, right?
Lord Lossy! Regardless. 4-0 doing, come on!
Rangers, they're fucking shit. Yeah, 3-1 Lossy, I get got
yeah, no, right, it's me.
Lost
50 quid on that.
A wee cup of Bovril won't be hot, right?
I want my Scotch pie.
Oh, what a note to end it on, eh? We're at the hour mark, so I was about to close that out like a Disney show, like our hour's ended for today, so we'll see. But yeah, good episode to start the year. It's went very quick. It's a pleasure talking to you both as always, back in studio, thankfully.
Yeah.
So it would have been like funny, my face just disappeared, like to continue the trend.
That's it, edit.
Yeah. My metabolism was working that hard that my face went.
I can't remember what word I tried to say now.
Could you imagine just a body, right? And on his head just said Ryan Hutchins.
I might edit that in, you know.
Shoulders.
Just black screen, Ryan Hutchins.
Anyway.
That's what it felt like watching that.
It was.
So we hope you've all had a good new year in that. We're pretty focused this year. We're going to take up levels again. Yeah. Also by cleaning the studio as well, which I've been kind of slacking off for a bit, but I'll get that done. I've got a bit of time off at the moment. So, I think we might be seeing each other again Saturday if Paul's all good in that. And HD, I'll see. I know. We'll see you when you're next on. We've got guest coming up soon, Doug Nevins, Scottish wrestler, MMA fighter, part of the SBG Muddy Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Misfits and all that. So yeah, good times ahead. We'll keep trucking along, and until next time,
take care from the NEC.
This podcast is also available on Google Podcasts, Breaker, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, and Spotify.